we already met at the entrance, but now it's more calm, formal meeting. So it's nice to meet everybody. Welcome to Israel. Thank you for coming to Israel. First is the most important thing to say. Thank you for coming. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the caucus. The Knesset Christian Allies Caucus was established in 2004 in the wake of the Second Intifada. And what we saw was that a lot of people, a lot of different countries, were retracting their support from Israel. But even in this really difficult time, there was one group that was standing by Israel regardless of the rest of the world's actions, and that group was Christians. And that was regardless of nationality. We saw the support and love from Christians all around the world really come out of this difficult and trying time. And the government of Israel recognized this. They recognized this strong and unique love and support from Christian communities all over the world, and they decided that something should be done about it. So because of that recognition, the Knesset Christian Allies Caucus was established in order to create relationships and maintain communication between the government of Israel and Christian leaders like you all over the world. So the Knesset today has 19 members of Knesset from 7 different political parties. You know for sure that in Israel it's very difficult to get even 2 people, especially politicians, to agree on anything. You know, they say 3 Israelis in a room, 5 opinions. Okay, but what we've managed to do is get 18 members of Knesset, okay, from 7 different political parties across the spectrum, left to right, on board with this issue. This cause of strengthening relationships with Christian supporters all around the world. And it's huge. It's a huge testament to how the government of Israel sees people like you and your communities all over the world and how much they value your support.
So my name is Harald Eckert. I'm from Munich, Germany, and I've invested myself in building relationships to the Jewish people, to Israel, for the last 25, 30 years in different capacities. In the last 15 years on an international level, I've been part of the leadership team of Christians for Israel and European Coalition for Israel. And about 3 years ago, I started to establish this network called Global Prayer Call.
Thank you very much. And I will represent myself, but before that I have to say that I'm very moved from your visit here, because I just sat here now and I thought to myself, whether there's another country in the world that delegations like your delegation are coming to the country from all over the world and saying, we are worried about you, you're important to us. I don't think that there are delegations to the United States or to France or to England from all over the world that people will come and say, we think about you, we want you to be safe. And I think that the fact that Israel is making so many people so many strong feelings proves that there is something special here. It happens also for the good and for the bad, because I don't think that there are also so many countries that so many people want to harm. And standing in front of such a big threats from so many big countries that we don't have nothing to do with them, you know. I think about actually what does Israel and Iran has to do with? Why is Iran's resources are so into destroying Israel and not building Iran? My name is Oded Forer. I was born in Israel. My parents were born in Israel. But if I will go a few generations farther, then I'll see that I'm coming from different parts of the world. I have a grandmother, she already passed away, but she's a Holocaust survivor. She came from Poland to Israel after the war in 1945. After she ran away all through Europe, running away from the Nazis, only her and her sister remained from the family. And for my father's side, I have a grandmother that came from Latvia. And actually, it's a very interesting story because she came here to the first Maccabiah. I don't know if you heard about the Maccabiah. This year, there's going to be a Maccabiah in Israel also again. And she came to Israel in 1932 to participate in the first Maccabiah. And Israel in 1932 didn't look like Israel looks now. You know, it was very different. And she was a young girl, and she came to Israel, and then she wrote to her father, "I decided to stay. I'm not coming back to Latvia." So he sent her big brother to Israel and told him, "Go bring your sister bread because she got crazy." And her brother came here and he sent a letter home and said, "I'm staying in Israel." And that's how our whole family came to Israel. And actually the part that didn't came to Israel got lost in the Holocaust later in the war. The majority of the Jews don't live in Israel. And if I look at the numbers, there are approximately 14.5 million Jews all over the world. 6.5 of them millions live in Israel. That leaves us approximately 8 million Jews outside of Israel. And from my perspective, and of course from Israel Beitenu, the party that I represent in the Knesset perspective, we need the majority of the Jews live in Israel. And I just want you, of course, you know Israel, and you've been here for many times, some of you, and you know the problems that we are suffer from. So think about Israel with 9 or 10 million Jews living in Israel. It's a completely different country. The Negev looks different, the Galil looks different, Jerusalem looks different. And I think that this is one of the main goals. For us, this is why we are promoting Aliyah from many regions. The big numbers are coming from Russia and Ukraine. And of course, France is the new source of Aliyah. It's also the largest Jewish community outside of the United States. Of course, in the diaspora, in the United States, we have 5.7 million Jews living in the United States. And I always say to the Jewish community in the States, I promise you, even if 1 million Jews will come to Israel from the United States and you will stay only 4.7 million Jews in the United States, it won't harm the Jewish community. The Jewish community will still be strong in the States, and for Israel it's critical to have more Jews. The Aliyah that comes now is very different than what we knew 20 years ago. Because 20 years ago it was people running away from a place they didn't like the people that came from former Soviet Union, and of course from Ethiopia, when we had the big waves coming from Ethiopia, when the situation there was very bad for the Jews. And now it's Aliyah out of choice. If someone lives in France, he has many choices to go to. Some of them go to Canada, to Australia, to the United States, to the United Kingdom. And the people that come to Israel choose to come to Israel. And it's very important for us. And it's very challenging for Israel. Yet, this challenge also gives us opportunities. The second thing that we represent is taking care of the security of Israel. The head of my party is Minister of Defense of Avigdor Lieberman, and this is one of the topics that we put in our agenda. It's the fact that the security of Israel comes before everything. We can't talk about any solutions or any negotiations or etc., without taking care of the security of Israel. And we can't talk about how to make our life better here without preserving our lives, the fact that we live, because we don't see it for granted. You can't live in Israel if you don't believe in miracles. Because, I told you a bit about the first Aliyah that came in 1890, and the numbers of the Jews in Israel then, and the Zionist movement at that point started to think about coming back to Israel. And then there were voices in the Zionist movement that said, we can't go to Israel. And actually the scientists told the Herzl, then there was a big discussion, we can't go to Israel because now there are only 20,000 Jews in Israel. There is no way, by the numbers that we see and the calculation that we do, 100 years from now, maximum you will have 500,000 Jews live in Israel. There is no way that it's going to be a Jewish state. And you see now Israel prosperity with 6.5 million Jews. and it's a democratic Jewish state succeeding to sustain this paradox of being both Jewish and democratic, and keeping the rights equal for everybody, every citizen, whether he's Arab, whether he's Christian, Muslim, Jew. Everyone has the same rights. Unfortunately, from my point of view, not everyone has the same duties. There are some citizens that don't take all the duties on themselves, yet we see many loyal Christian citizens serving the army. Just, I have to tell you that there's a legislation that I succeeded to promote, and we just, last week we finished this legislation to allow Aramic. You know, there's a big community of Aramic Christians in Israel, and they had to write in their ID as there is nationality. The nationality it had to be written Arabic, and the Christians Aramic says, let us write ourselves as Arabic, and we succeed, and there's a legislation passed just last week. Actually, 2 years ago, they were allowed to sign themselves as Aramic, but it cost so much because they needed to go to court and to declare about it. And now we took the bureaucracy out of the way, and for free in the next 5 years, they're not going to have to pay anything even for the forms. And I hope to see there's a community, potential community to sign as Aramic of over 100,000 people in Israel.
Congratulations.
That's very good. I have to congratulate you because you came in a very special time. This is the anniversary 50 years for the reunited of Jerusalem, and I think that yesterday the visit that President Trump did to the Wailing Wall and his daughter was a very special visit for me. I was very touched from his visit, and actually there was a bit of criticism from some people in Israel why he didn't want any Israeli politician to escort him, and I think it was more important that he went alone, also he and his daughter, and did their, this is something very private, I think, the fact that he wanted to pray alone and to visit alone, and actually he saw, again, what I talked in the beginning, he saw the freedom of religions in Israel that is remarkable. Not only in Israel, if you compare Israel to the region, of course, but also if you compare Israel to the world. And if you would check what happened in the ancient city before 1967, there was no freedom of religion. Christians couldn't pray easily. And President Trump is visiting actually now in Bethlehem. If I could talk with him, I could. But if I could talk with him before he went there, I would ask him to ask Abu Mazen, Mahmoud Abbas, the head of the Palestinian Authority, why does the numbers of the Christians in Bethlehem equal to 1993, before the Palestinian Authority got to be in charge of Bethlehem, became so low, from 70% Christians to 7 or 8% Christians in Bethlehem? And actually the answer is that there is no freedom of religion under the Palestinian Authority, and there is no freedom under their regime. And actually, if you look at the numbers of Christians in the whole Middle East, the only place in the Middle East that the numbers are increasing and not decreasing is in Israel. So, yet, I'm very worried, because when I look at the Christian world, a few weeks ago, and there was a resolution succeed to promote in UNESCO, a second resolution after another resolution that was a few months before, that denied any connection of the Jews to Jerusalem. And the amazing thing is that the resolution was passed by many Christians countries voting to disconnect this connection. And I ask myself, how can you be Christian and say that the Jews don't have a connection to Jerusalem or to the Temple Mount? So if I would end my things before I will open to questions, in asking something from you, you came from very different countries. Ask it your representative in your government or parliament. How could it be done? I'm not worried that it will harm Israel, because it won't. You know, the lie has no legs, actually. And but still, I think it actually makes the effort of us to gain peace more difficult.